week 2. You know you have your name and the period. Today is Thursday. Number 1 is asking the LCM. You need to know what the LCM stands for. What does it stand for?
Least common multiple.
Least common multiple, very good. So, multiples are like what you multiply by. So, I need to find the multiples of 3. So it'd go 3, what? 6, 9,
12,
15, 18. Okay, only a couple of you guys know how to do that. Let's see if we can do better on the 8. 8, what's next?
16.
There we go.
24.
Can I stop?
Yeah.
Because it wants the least. So we need the smallest, so I'm going to circle 24. Another way you could have done that. Your numbers are 3 and 8. 3 is prime, right? So I could have multiplied 8 times 3, or 3 times 8 to equal 24. If one of the numbers are prime, find the least common multiple, all you have to do is multiply the two numbers, even.
No, I'm just stretching.
Number 2. What adds to be the bottom number but multiplies to be the top? So I got the number 15 on the top and the number 8 on the bottom. So I have two numbers in between. The 2 have to add to get to 8. The 2 have to multiply to get to 15. So I have to think of what are my factors of 15. They could add, Kate Lane. 5 and 3 or 3 and 5. Because 5 times 3 is 15. 5 plus 3 is 8. 3 is just multiplication. At this point, you all should be able to do this multiplication. Now, when I walk around and I see papers, I see some sloppiness. And I see this. So 5 times 4 is 20, and I'm going, people are doing this. This is 42. Is that neat?
No.
Are you going to get messed up?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not saying you have to be perfect and have the perfect handwriting, but I am saying stay on the lines the best that you can. Be as neat as you possibly can. And so I know what I'm carrying over, okay? So then 5 times 8 is 40, plus 2 makes 42, and the 4 is right above the 3. Then 5 times 3 is 15, plus 4 makes, okay, we're leading off here. Then 5 times 5 is?
25.
Plus 1 makes?
26.
There we go. I'm getting more people to answer, but I need everybody answering here. Cross off what I've used, add a 0. 6 times 4 is?
24.
I don't hear anybody over here. 6 times 8 is?
48.
Plus 2 makes?
50.
There we go. Then 6 times 3 is? 18 plus 5.
23.
23. Here are the 2, leave the 3. 6 times 5? 30 plus the 2? 32, and I have it all lined up, nice and neat, so I don't make my mistakes. So it's 0, 6, 9, 9, 4, 3. 1, 2, 3, comma. You should have all been able to do that one correctly and have it completed before we went over it. Number 4 is also one you should have been able to do. 4 squared plus 5 times quantity of 61 minus the quantity of 5 times 6, and that ends my bracket. Order of operations, you start on the inside of the bracket. So I do 5 times 6, which is 30. Bring down the 61 minus 30. Keep that in the, keep that in the brackets. Rewrite everything down. Then do what's inside that bracket. 61 minus 30 is 31. That's still in my bracket. I can bring down 4 squared now. What's 4 squared?
16.
So bring down 16 plus, then I do 5 times 31.
And you get
155.
So 155. If you don't know it, you do it off to the side.
And then you do
And I do 16 plus 155.
171.
It's 171. Number 5 was a hard one, I thought.
Yeah.
You've got these empty squares, and what you have to do, it's like what's called a Sudoku puzzle. It's kinda like that, so you only have the numbers through 2 through 10, and each row has to add up to 18, so each row adds to 18. Okay, and then each row going down also adds to 18. So to fill in my rows, I just started with some combinations that would equal 18. So it's 4, 6, and 8, that equals 18. 5, 10, and 3 equals 18. And 9, 2, and 7 equals 18. Then 4 plus 5 plus 9 is 18. 6 plus 10 plus 2 is 18. 8 plus 3 plus 7 is 18. You could add these in any row. Like I could have put the 4, 6, and 8 at the bottom or the middle. As long as these three were together, these three are together, and these three are together.
I didn't get it. Alright, it made no sense to me.
Number 6, we had to use the number line. When using a number line, where do you start? What number did we start at?
You're off the page.
0. So I'm starting at 0. Okay? And then I go to a negative 3 halves. I don't see 3 halves here. But 3 halves is also like saying 1 and a half, right? So I need to go to the negative 1 and a half. So I'll be going to the left or to the right?
Left.
Left, because it's negative. Negative goes left. So I stop there at the negative 1 and a half. Then I start there again. Then I look at my sign, I am adding. So if I'm adding, I'm gonna go to the right or to the left.
Right.
So now I'm gonna add 2 holes. Each tick mark is only a half though.
Mhm.
So I need to go, that's 1 hole. There's another hole. Stop right there, and then that's my answer, which is a positive 1 half. But I'm gonna,
Positive 1 half?
1 half.
That'd be half.
Yeah, that's how you say it, 1 half.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. You are probably thinking 1 and a
Yeah, I
half.
was like,
Yeah.
what?
That's okay. Number 6. Or I'm gonna show you this now without the number line. Okay? So I want you to learn to write negative 3 halves plus 2. I have a negative and a positive. If you have a negative and a positive, you just subtract. So I'm gonna take 2 minus 3 halves. Well, the 2 becomes a 1 and this becomes 2 halves. Still can't do that subtraction, so I've gotta borrow another whole. So I'm borrowing another 2 halves. I really like how everybody's writing this down. And that becomes 4 halves. Now 4 halves minus 3 halves is just 1 half. And then I take the sign of the bigger number. And the bigger number is 2. And the sign with the 2 is a positive, so it's just a positive 1 half. Number 7. Says Jim is running on a trail that is 5/4 of a mile long. So far he has run 2/3 of the trail. How many miles has he run so far? So he's ran 2/3 of, well, the trail length was 5/4. In math, what does the of stand for?
Multiplication.
Multiply. So I take 2/3 times 5/4. I'm going to cross cancel with my 2 and my 4. Divide them both by 2. So 2 divided by 2 is 1, 4 divided by 2 is 2. So then 1 times 5 is 5, 3 times 2 is 6. So he has ran 5/6 of a mile.
That was easier than what I was looking at to do.
Sometimes you guys look at a box and it has words in it and you give up right away. Just read through it. Look for your key terms. It's a little bit easier than what you kind of think it is. 8 is, we have to simplify, so that really just means to solve it. 1/4 times the quantity and negative 12 plus 4/3. When I have a number right outside the parentheses, It's like saying you take 1/4 times 12, 1/4 times 4/3. I want you to write this down. This is called the distributive property. Distributive property.
We learned this last year.
Yep, you guys have learned it in the past. I also have a video on it on my website. So I'm gonna take 1/4 times a negative 12, so 12 goes over 1. Plus 1/4 times 4/3. I'm going to reduce by 4, so that 4 becomes a 1, the 12 becomes a 3. 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 1 is 1, so that's a negative, so it'd be a negative 3, because it's over 1, so that's just still negative 3. Plus, I'm gonna reduce by 4, 4 becomes a 1, this 4 becomes a 1, 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times 3 is 3. So now I'm at a negative 3 plus 1/3. If I have a positive and a negative, you just subtract. So 3 minus 1/3. The 3 becomes a 2, this becomes 3/3. 3 minus 1 is 2/3. 2 minus nothing is 2. Then go back. My negative number is greater, so then my answer must be negative. Another way you could have done this problem is this. I have 1/4 times the quantity, negative 12 plus 4/3. You could have done what's inside the parentheses first. So I could have taken the 12 minus 4/3. 12 becomes an 11, and this becomes 3/3, but that doesn't work, so I have to borrow again. So now I have 6/3 minus 4/3 is 2/3. 10 minus nothing is 10, but it's negative because the bigger number is negative. Then I take 10 and 2/3 times 1/4. So this becomes 32 over 3 times 1/4. I'm gonna reduce by 4. This becomes an 8.
Can you scooch it up a little?
Yep.
Thank you.
This becomes an 8, that becomes a 1. 8 times 1 is 8. 3 times 1 is 3.
Holy crap.
Reduce that to 2 and 2/3. But remember that 10 was negative, so that 32 is negative. You get the same answer. No. But no, you can do the distributive property, or you can do what's in parentheses first. So take a picture, and we did do some on this worksheet. So if I were you, I would just maybe put both sheets kind of next to each other and get a picture of both, or I would go like this.
Yep.
Okay, get a picture of it and submit it to